Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on our podcast. And today I am back at Legazpi, one of my most favorite cities in the Philippines. It's actually my second favorite city, next to BGC. And why is that? Is because of the natural beauty and the surroundings it has in, especially for the Mayan vacation volcano, which is what Legazpi is really well known for. Is that right?
Yes, because it's perfect cone.
Yes, it's beautiful. So if you're ever in the Legazpi area, come on down. But today, I am extremely thrilled to have on our show Miss Therese Rose, who is the owner of Dreams Inn,
Yes.
right? It's a boutique hotel here in Legazpi, and we really wanted to have been in her lobby today. Unfortunately, we're not able to be on that because she is undergoing some massive renovation. Right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to eventually show once the renovations are complete, and so I'm really excited about
We
that.
will be honored to have you back.
Yes, and we'll be back to be able to talk to her and see how her renovation is going. Maybe you have some before and after shots. Is that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So you have a very interesting story on how you were able to achieve success, and on this show, we like to talk about ordinary people who have done some extraordinary things in their lives to become the success that they are. So, Therese Rose, tell us something about yourself.
I am the eldest among technically 7 children, but because the second child was taken by our Lord very early, so we grew up as 6 in the family. But then my dad left us so early, at the age of 21. So I am the breadwinner of the family at the age of 21.
And she has said that she had literally a Brady Bunch scenario at her house. 3 boys and 3 girls, right?
That's correct. So one big happy family.
Wow, and your father is amazing. He kept going on until...
Yes, because they wanted another boy, but God would always bless it with another Mary, you know. So 4 Marys technically.
Yeah.
Then came the baby Jesus.
The baby Jesus.
Yes.
So 3 boys and 3 girls.
Yes, 3 boys and 3 girls.
So what's amazing here is that her father has passed away at an early age, which forced her to become the main breadwinner of her house, right?
Yes.
At what age was that?
At 21.
You were at 21?
Yes.
You were the main breadwinner of the house.
That's correct.
How hard was that?
It's very tough because, you know, I finished school at just 19. So technically, I only have barely 2 years exposure in the business. Good thing I am a good child. I listened to my dad because I was actually aspiring for corporate world after graduation. But then my dad would tease me that I would need allowance apart from my salary. So I decided to come home.
Yeah.
And then learn from him. But then I think the path was prepared by our Lord. So because the life given to my father will be taken so early, and somehow he prepared us for the worst.
I could imagine. Was it hard for you to be the main breadwinner at 21?
It's very tough because we were 6 in the family.
Yeah.
So I have to raise 5 siblings.
You were the oldest?
Yes, I'm the oldest. So 5 siblings in exclusive school in Manila. So you know how expensive that would be. But my mom would like them to be schooled, to be educated in the province because, you know, no matter how good we are, my father's ability is a lot better. Yeah, probably double or triple our ability. But then I told my mom that we have to remain in the same course, in the same vision that my father would want my siblings to be. So no matter what, we will educate them in Manila, in the same school that my father dreamed of.
Wow. And as a main breadwinner, what work were you doing in order to help feed your family?
We were actually we were entrepreneurs, so we have this grocery. We are into corporate trading also. The hotel is of our first venture in the family. My first venture as a business. Yes, the hotel was a big leap in the family. So,
I mean, have you ever done any kind of hotel work before you even started this?
No, that was the very first time. But it became our main bread and butter because the hotel business would give us cash. So every day, so it's easier that way.
I can't just imagine. I mean, why did you choose to become a hotelier? I mean, you could have chosen to be anything, right? But why hotel business? I mean, that's difficult, isn't it?
That's correct. I need to be in business because I cannot feed my siblings taking a 7 to 5 work. So I cannot educate them in one of the top colleges in our country having a regular work. So I have to maintain being an entrepreneur. And back then, hotel is lucrative in Legazpi, and not so many hotels are open and back in our time. So
what year was that? I don't want to date you, but you know.
So 90s, something like that.
1990?
Yeah, something.
Wow, so that's been over 30 years.
Yeah, almost 30 years.
I gotta tell you, you look pretty young.
Thank you. I'm happy.
You know?
I don't look my age.
Yeah, you sure don't. So tell me, throughout the whole process where you were doing your business, right, what were some of the biggest struggles that you've had in starting your business, and how were you able to overcome it?
Struggles will always be there, but I was lucky because our property was in the prime of the business center. So I waited for the biggest mall then in town, which is Gaisano Mall, to take off. So I waited 3 years if the Gaisano Mall will be able to sustain their market, because they're not from here, they're from Cebu.
Yeah.
So they're just across our property, so that near to the Pacific Mall.
Right.
So I waited 3 years, and then
and you were studying them, right?
Yes, okay. I'm studying the location and how they would survive, because in truth, our area is like it's not a main district back then, and it's swampy, in fact. Our area is swampy. So who would have thought that now it's the main district already in Legazpi City?
That is such a big risk that you've taken.
Yes, risk, but also vision.
So it was like at the right location at the right time, you know, right?
Correct. But I think the biggest challenge is, in fact, the COVID-19 pandemic. This is not just for hotels, but for everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
We were forced to close the hotel, and we were forced to survive within the lockdown. We have to feed our employees.
Was that the biggest challenge that you had?
Yes, that's the biggest challenge.
Wow. So earlier you were telling me about your the COVID-19 and how you were able to survive. And back at that time, I know that there was a lot of hotels that didn't survive, right?
Correct.
But you survived because?
Yeah, I survived because I entered into a contract with BRTTH. So their frontliner, we are home for their frontliners. So they're self-sufficient. They operated the hotel by themselves, doing the disinfection, doing the laundry and everything. So that would be less risky for our family. And then, of course, we will have enough to sustain us during pandemic. That's the most important thing.
I could only imagine a lot of your competitors chose not to do that, right? Because they were afraid. But you are not afraid.
The truth is, all of us are scared because of the unknown.
Yeah.
But then you have to have calculated risk.
Yeah.
I told you earlier that we opted first to close our business because we were doing the laundry at home. So we have to choose between exposing our family or having a sustained income.
Right.
But then we have to innovate. So we entered into a contract with another entity so that they will operate the business
outside.
Yes, outside, with us with only minimal exposure. So, but then you need a lot of capital. So, because government would usually pay you several months in delay.
Yeah. So you have to, even after you have room and board a lot of the government frontliners, you still have to wait for many months before you finally get paid.
And of course, you have to pay the electricity bill and the water bill. Otherwise, they won't have anything inside. So, a business should be prepared for this.
Right.
That's why I would think that many businesses did not survive because they don't have enough backup to sustain this.
Right. And I got to tell you, it's very challenging at that time of the year, right? I could only imagine. I mean, for 2 years, most businesses have shut down. But you were able to survive because you were fearless enough, right?
That's number one.
And you took the risk. And even though you understood the difficulties of exposing your family, and you told me earlier you have one child?
Yes, I only have one.
Right, and he is 11 years old or something like that?
Grade 11. He is grade 11 and he is a scholar.
Once again, you still don't look your age, and he's a scholar.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a scholar.
You must consider yourself some degree of success. Do you consider yourself a successful person?
Definitely, because I was able to live up to my father's goal. I was able to send 5 siblings in a very good schools, and in fact, one of them is now a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yes.
Oh, here in Legazpi?
Yeah, he's also practicing in Legazpi, and another one is an international chef. He's now in Barcelona, and he's coming home this February.
Oh, wow. So you got a hotelier, you have an attorney, and you have an international chef,
Yes.
How about your other siblings? I'm sure they're
also into business.
Into business. So they're also entrepreneurs, right?
Yes, all of them.
Oh my God, that's pretty amazing. So your father has really done well for you, even from heaven.
Yeah.
He
is our inspiration because he is a very simple man.
Yeah. Do you feel that he is like kind of guiding you, from above?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
If you were to say to yourself, okay, Dad, teach me something about success, what would some of those lessons would be from your dad that you think you have learned from him?
It's definitely simplicity in life. That's what he taught us. And he would say that, in fact, you would only pick the money just in your backyard, but you just have to do your thing and look.
That's great.
So he's a very simple man. In fact, when we were very young, he would ask us to take public jeepney, even if we have
a car.
Yes, a car. And his friends would curse him for sending us to a public utility vehicle, using public utility vehicle. But then I realized it's part of our training.
What lesson do you think he was trying to impart with you on that?
I think it's more on believing in yourself, enhancing your ability, and learning to survive no matter what.
Learning to survive.
Yes, because
Right.
he was saying that, in fact, whatever we have, it's always not constant. Like pandemic.
Yes.
Who would have thought that in our lifetime we will experience this pandemic?
I remember that pandemic pretty well because what it did for me, I was in lockdown in Naga City.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and there was
2 hours
nothing
away
worse,
from here.
you know, for especially me. I'm a very active person. I always want to be out, but I couldn't even leave my house. It must have been tough. I could only imagine how difficult it was being here in having a business as a hotelier, right? And in a time of pandemic. So if someone were to have come up to you today, and it's a young person, and they said, you know, Mom, I'm really inspired by your hotel business. What kind of advice would you give that person today?
First, you have to always recognize God or your supreme being. That's the number one. Because without Him, there will be nothing. And
I love that, by the way.
yeah, have a goal. Stick to that goal no matter what. Like what happened to our family.
Yeah.
We lost our dad. But we stick to his goal.
Yeah.
And we were able to achieve all siblings having educated from a very good schools. Yeah. And then they have a good life now.
Wow. I really, really love that. You know, is it hard to start a hotel, especially in today's climate?
Today's climate, yes, very hard. But back then, not really.
So could you say that you could attribute part of your success to great timing?
Yes.
And vision.
Great timing
Right.
and vision. Because have I not waited for 3 years, probably I would have abandoned already the hotel, because if it would not progress, you know, you would abandon the hotel and do another business.
Exactly. You know, I've heard a lot of stories of, let's say, Kuya Jays. Okay?
Yes.
And by the way, I'm going to have him on the podcast soon too. And read his story, and he started off with just a little side restaurant that everybody loved to go to, right? Because his food and his cooking was so good. Did you start off very simple as well? I mean, did you start with, you know, maybe one room in the house, or did you have to build a building, or I mean?
I think I'm a little luckier than that, because my father was able to acquire that lot in front of Pacific Mall.
Wow,
So during
lucky.
that time when he acquired the lot, it was only a swampy area. So probably it's also part of his vision. And I renovated the entire building, because I took out the building. It's just a one-story building. So I took out that building and erected a 4-story building for my hotel.
Holy cow.
Yes.
And then you kept building on that, or how did you do that?
No, just one time. It's one time, big time. It's a lot of investment, but with a lot of hard work also, we're able to survive.
Right. What do you think what was the scariest moment at that time?
At that time,
Before COVID?
I think God was so good to us, because I already planned it to be self-sustaining, because the ground floor of the building, I lease it to a tenant. So even if we don't have clients during our first few days, first few months, we have enough income, you know.
Oh, wow, that's very smart.
So that's also part of the planning. While we need to establish our name during our first few months, we have enough income.
What would you think is very unique about your hotel versus a different hotel?
Unique, number one, because we're situated in the heart of the city. So we are just walking distance within 3 malls. That's Ayala Mall, Gaisano Mall, SM.
So you're right there, right in the...
Yes.
middle of everything.
At the back of our hotel is the public market, so
Right.
very accessible.
So you're accessible. You are within the area right in front of all the big malls, right? So also with SM, there's the band station, right? And the bus.
That's correct.
Right. So for travelers, if you want to come to Legazpi, and if you're going to be traveling, especially through van or through the bus, your hotel is right there.
Yes, it's
Right.
very near. It's in fact walking distance.
Just walking distance.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's pretty amazing. So tell us a little bit about, do you have any hotel promos or that's going on?
Right now, because we are renovating the place, we don't have, but our range is only 500 to 1,400.
Okay.
So it's very affordable for everyone.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad. I mean,
Yes.
so it's, how much is it per night for like one?
For one person is 500. That's
500.
already hot and cold shower with cable TV.
Okay, I gotta tell you, I really like going to hotels, and one of the biggest reasons is because they have hot showers.
Yes. Yeah. Not everyone would offer hot and cold shower, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in my place, I have what I call the screaming tabo.
Yeah.
Right? Because the moment that
We
that
also
cold
have
water
bidet.
hit my head, I
We
am
also have
like screaming.
bidet.
So I would love to one day come by and visit you, especially after the new renovations.
It would be our honor.
And we love to be able to promote you some more. So, do you have any other businesses that you have? I mean, or is this the primary business that you run?
We have a leasing business, so we have many buildings that we lease out.
Okay, so you're a real estate tycoon as well.
No, not really. We're just a simple.
And I got it, and it's your vision, and you're the one who.
We have what's this? Our father already started several of this,
Right.
but we just expanded it.
Right. Oh my gosh. So I have to say thank you so much, Therese Rose, for being on our show today. You know, we have learned so much about you, and I really enjoyed the struggles that you had raising up an entire young family,
Yeah.
even after the death of your
It
father.
was so tough. Nobody can even imagine how hard it is. But with God's grace and with my father as our inspiration, we were able to achieve his own target.
Wow. Well, I'd love to hear more about that when we'll probably do another follow-up. You know, in within how long will it take for your?
Probably 3 to 4 months.
Oh, 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Hopefully we will be able to achieve that in 4 months' time.
Okay, so probably in about 4 months we'll come by and see how beautiful her new renovation has taken off at her quote unquote new hotel, right?
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for being on this podcast, and it's really my honor for having Therese Rose be on the show. And so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having
You know,
me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so our next guest we're going to be having on our show, you're going to be very excited. We have mayors and entrepreneurs. I'm really excited about who we're going to be having on the show in the coming months. You know, so stay tuned. Thank you so much.